Hello everybody, this is Ryan from No Review Playthrough. Today with kind of, I don't really know what to call it. It's not necessarily an unboxing. I've already put the insert and so forth together. I guess maybe it's more of a show and tell. Since I've gotten a couple of these expansions for Marvel United, I wanted to try and see what I could do to store as much as I possibly can. I love organizing everything as much as I can into one box. Right now we have 4 boxes because we have the base game, we have Enter the Spider-Verse, we have the Guardians of the Galaxy, and now the Infinity Gauntlet. So I got 4 boxes, and really those extra boxes are just a lot of, I mean, they're great inserts, but they're mostly just storing 3 or 4 miniatures, a couple of cards, and in fact, in case of the Infinity Gauntlet, you got the glove inside, which is, as everybody kind of talks about, it's a little bit overkill. So I know that there's a couple out there. I love inserts. I've got quite a few broken token ones. I haven't bought any inserts recently since we've started the channel. This is kind of the first insert I've got. Most of our games haven't needed some since I've started the channel, but I do love the broken token ones. I have quite a few wooden ones, but I know that they can be expensive, they can be heavy. But I love organizing as much as I can with expansions and games, trying to put everything in one. So I came across Amazon the other day, the folded space insert for the Marvel United. And the best I could go and find, and I was really surprised that almost nobody on YouTube had any videos with this, so I hope that this will help you out a little bit to figure out which expansions you can fit. So the website says it will fit this plus various expansions, which is true. And so I kind of looked on the picture that you see on the thumbnail, and I kind of looked at the other pictures they have and kind of counted the slots and see how many slots there were for figures. And so I knew that I wasn't going to get everything in one, but I came pretty close. So I got everything in it. The only thing I did not get it in was the Infinity Gauntlet expansion. So I did get, from 4 boxes, I got down to 2 boxes. So I'm pretty pleased with this. Now what I might do is, the only problem is you cannot, even though these boxes are the same this way, they're not as tall as each other. This box is a little skinnier. So you cannot just buy the insert and put another one in here and then start building up from there. However, I do have a second copy of the base game because I bought it with a bundle when I got the Spider-Universe. They both came together for almost the same price as the Spider-Universe expansion. So I thought, what the heck? And I've painted this up and been trying to sell it. Nobody wants to buy it. So if nothing else, what I could do is buy a second one for this one and then put a whole bunch more expansions in this one. So that's an option. So just be aware, it clearly states that the box dimensions will only fit the base game because it's a little bit taller. Now, it does also say you will get a little bit of lid lift. You can see it's actually very minimal, and you'll see even with this packed in, it's very minimal. So this is my first foam core too. I've kind of put off buying foam core because it seemed kind of cheap, and obviously it is much cheaper than the wooden ones. But it seems to be pretty sturdy. I've been worried about maybe punctures and breaks, but I think, what the heck, this is like 25 or 35. I'll put the link to the description below. So let's go ahead and see what we got in here so you can see how I organized it. So this is, again, holding the base game, the Spider-Universe, and Guardians of the Galaxy in this. So as we lift this up, you can see I have some of the location cards here on top, and I'll show you in just a minute why. So they're kind of all mixed up here. So I'll just take these off, put these off the side. So we did get still fit the rule book. I mean, it's thin enough. That's not really the cause of the lid lift. Okay, it's because the insert does literally go right to the top of this. So you can see because of the expansions, I wasn't able to fit all of the location cards right on top. So how many did I get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6. So that's pretty much one expansion that didn't quite fit, because I probably could have squished this in there, but then the lid lift would be a little bit more because this is higher. By spreading it out, I think I get less lid lift. So that's the space where you put all of your cards, and mine are all warped from where I live here in Vegas. Everything dries out and seems to warp, but I don't think that's affected it still, I think, would need that. So you can see that's pretty flush when I kind of mash those down. So I'd probably get even more lid lift if I put all the locations on top. So I did kind of spread those out a little bit. It seemed to fit the box a little bit better. So you can see over here on the left, I do have all the villains that are included with the base game, and then we have the Guardians and the Spider-Verse, so they all fit nicely. I could have taken out, again, some of the stuff from this and not put the minis in, but I figure, excuse me, if I'm not going to put the minis in, there's no sense dismantling this. You'll see I can fit excuse me. I probably could have fit a few things in from here into this, but I figure if I'm going to keep this anyways, I might as well keep this intact. So that's pretty flush. Again, if I had to, I could spread those out a little bit, but you can see there is an indent for that on the card trays here. All right, so first let's go ahead and talk here. So I do have one extra Doctor Strange character that came in its own box when I bought the Spider Universe, and the base game bundle, I got the Doctor Strange character. So I still have his original box. Okay, so it came just by itself, so it was kind of always floating anyways. So so right now he's here. So I have everybody in there. He's going to kind of rest in there. Now, one thing I think that I'm going to have to do with this is I'm going to have to store this horizontally, which is not the end of the world, but I don't want these miniatures rolling around, so I'm going to store this horizontally instead of vertically like I was. That way Doctor Strange won't be too bad. So I could probably fit some of those miniatures in there, but I don't want them clanging around. So that's why I have that. So if you don't have that, if you just have the base game, you're definitely going to be able to fit everything in. One expansion is easily going to fit everything. And then because I have, again, one extra, he's kind of floating around. So what I did here in the card slots, again, I could have taken the Infinity Gauntlet cards and put them here. I could have put a few things in this box, but I thought it was just kind of worthless just to have the box with like 4 miniatures in it. So for now, we're just going to leave it like this. Then what I have here is each expansion is in its own little slot, plus the Doctor Strange just gets lumped in with Spider-Man. So while the dividers don't necessarily divide, and I'm not going to worry about dividing into individual heroes, there's not enough to worry about that, but you definitely could. So here's the Guardians expansion. So the nice thing is each expansion fit in its own slot. Here's the base game. And then I took basically all the extra starting stuff. So here's the starting villains. I guess I could put, well, I don't know if all of the villains, but I kind of like the expansions here. And then we have all of the extra challenges. And then because we have the Guardians expansion comes with this Plan B module. So I just put all the starting stuff here, plus all the starting villains. That all fit very nicely. All right, so we have a little tray here. Okay, this fits pretty nicely. You have to kind of make sure they lay flat. You can't just dump them in because they will kind of stick over the top a little bit. So you kind of have to play around a little bit with that. And again, I think if I stored this vertically, these would probably be messed up a little bit more than I would like. So, but the base tokens all fit in there very nicely. Next tray down. I did have to take out some of a few of the civilians and thugs because it was kind of overflowing a little bit here. I guess I could put them over here, but you can see I have all the health, the crisis. Here's the Tesseract cube, and then the threat markers here, and then the extra tokens there. Fits very nicely. All right, so here's the big part. Here's how I organize the miniatures. So I did have to kind of play around a little bit to figure out who's going to fit in which slot. I knew that the Hulk had to go here. Let's see if we can see that. I think we can see that pretty good. So here's how I've got Green Goblin here. I got Ronan. Most of them fit bigger in the bigger slots. Here's some of the taller ones, tall, skinny ones. So there's Groot, the Wasp here, Miss Marvel. Some of them have slightly of course, Iron Man's got a, with these flames, he's got a little bit more of a wider base. So I had to find one here. And then over here, I had to fit, there's Spider-Man in here with his little arm hanging out. It just barely fit over this little ridge here. And then just kind of had to play around a little bit with which mini would fit a little bit better. Some fit better in some slots than others. There's Miles over here in this slot here. But I'm pretty pleased with everything. Seemed to fit pretty well with just a little bit tweaking. Spider-Gwen here is a little bit off, but that was kind of the best one I could find with that. but they fit pretty nice and snug. With all of that, again, I'm pretty impressed that I was able to fit that much in there, again, except for the exception of Doctor Strange. But again, if I store this horizontally, I don't think that's going to be too much problem. Then I've got a couple of the KO tokens that didn't quite fit in the trays without lifting it up too much. So there's a nice little fleece shot there. See how I kind of organized mine. Now, obviously, if you have different expansions, you might have to put different characters in different slots, but they really did design this for the core game because they knew that the Hulk was kind of the biggest one here. And then they have some of the smaller bases, bigger bases, or some of the characters that are a little bit more spread out than others from their poses. So definitely he extends past the base here, so he didn't fit quite, so he doesn't fit quite well in there. So I did have to again play around with it a little bit, but I'm pretty pleased with how. Now again, these sit right on top, or the location cards, Groot just barely fit on top of there. I could have maybe put, let's see, maybe Spider-Man could go there and Groot could go here. He is sitting a little taller there on that one. So kind of depending on which expansions you have, but definitely fits the base game perfectly. How many slots were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 slots. So you can fit pretty much 19 miniatures again, and then depending on from there. So you have to kind of figure out which expansions you might have past the core set and figure out if that's worth it for you. And again, if I've had this up for sale for quite a bit on BGG and haven't really had any offers yet on it, so I didn't really spend a lot of money on it, to be honest, because it's still all punched out. The only thing I did was paint up the miniatures and left everything like that. So if worse comes to worse, I may use this as the next box, but I could fit then. I do plan on getting a couple of the others. I do plan on getting the X-Men expansion, so then I could put all the Infinity Gauntlet in the new box. The only thing that would not fit in this box is obviously, the only thing that I would not be able to fit in the new box is the big glove. But everybody says this is just it is unnecessary for the expansion. What I might do is take the jewels and glue them in and maybe make a little shadow box of that, because you really don't need that for the game at all. So that wouldn't be the end of the world to do that. So there is the folded space insert for Marvel United. Again, I didn't really find, I was kind of surprised, no real showcasing of how this works. So hopefully this will help some of you in your decision to purchase this. I'll put a link in the description below where I got it on Amazon. I think it was $35. I could be wrong. I don't think it was as low as $25. I'm pretty sure it was $35. And a little glue. I didn't glue all the pieces in. Let me take this back out. I was going to mention a little bit. Assembly was pretty decent. Again, I've done quite a few inserts, so I kind of know how the system works. I didn't glue everything in, or glue everything. Well, I guess on this one I did. I truthfully just on this one, and it doesn't have a bottom on it, so if I lift it out. Some of these I just did the sides, because I know that these, once you get the sides, so these technically I could remove, which I didn't even think about. But again, if I take those out, then I don't think I would save anything. I wouldn't be able to get the Doctor Strange in. So I don't think everything needed to be glued, just kind of the corners. I did glue all of this here with a little glue, but assembly was pretty much the same. The only thing that I could not find, or that was kind of weird, is this piece right here. I had to actually cut down because it went out into here. And I tried, looking on the punch outs to see if I'd missed anything, and I didn't miss anything. This piece here just ended up being a little too long, but with an X-Acto knife, I was able to cut that and fit that in. That was the only part of the assembly that I had any issues with. So hopefully that was helpful for you, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.